This is John Hope Bryant, and this is Money and Wealth on the Black Effect Network on iHeartRadio. It's my second season of my, thank you very much, highly successful podcast. It's top 100 in business for Apple Podcasts and top 50 for entrepreneurship, and in the world, top 5% and top 200 on every continent. So thank you all for your support. Tell your friends all about it. I don't normally have guests on my podcast unless they're truly extraordinary, such as the case today. And when I have guests on my podcast, I don't normally spend time going over their bio. You pretty much know who these folks are. They're on the podcast as a guest. It's signature. They are the GOAT. They are the best in class in their area. But it's not often I have the chance to have, well, the world's Black Pope on my podcast, and a spiritual leader for our time here and around the world, somebody whose name echoes through history, alive. He also happens to be a very good human being and a very dear and important friend of mine. But I think you need to understand the substance behind the name and behind the booming voice. Of course, I'm talking about none other than, you would know him as Bishop T.D. Jakes. Others might know him as Chairman T.D. Jakes. Still others might know him as my friend T.D. Jakes, or my daddy, or my husband T.D. Jakes, or my benefactor T.D. Jakes, or my backer T.D. Jakes, or my prayer partner, my prayer warrior T.D. Jakes, or the strategist T.D. Jakes, or the advisor to heads of state around the world. Let me tell you a little bit more about the substance of the man from a credentials perspective, and then we're going to get into a conversation that is edgy and necessary for this time that I'm calling Making Boring Sexy. I'm sorry, Bishop Jakes called it Making Boring Sexy, which is a play in my mind off of Let's Make Smart Sexy. This is much more important. This is much more important. And you'll understand why within the next 45 minutes or so. Bio, credentials, things you should know about this man. Born Thomas Dexter Jakes Sr. He's a globally renowned pastor, author, filmmaker, and entrepreneur. He's born June 9th, 1957. Happy birthday, my good brother.
Thank you.
He was born in South Charleston, West Virginia. By the way, the same little town my wife, Shatra Bryant, was born in. What's the chances of that? Reminds me, Bishop, that Dr. King had met Andrew Young, Ambassador Andrew Young now, and Young started working for Dr. King. And later on, it was discovered that Coretta Scott King and Jean Charles Young were born and raised in the same little small town. What's the chances of that? Coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous sometimes. Good soil. We'll get into that.
Same time when my mother was born in.
Wow. There you go.
Marion, Alabama.
Marion, Alabama. I did not know that. So he is the founder and senior pastor of what you would know as the Potter's House in Dallas, Texas, a non-denominational megachurch with over 30,000 members, known for his dynamic preaching style and messages of healing, empowerment, and faith. Jakes has become one of the most influential religious leaders in the world. He is a New York Times best-selling author, time and again, with books such as Women, Thou Art Loose. This was a huge phenomenon when it came out, and he had a huge conference. They still go on, but he had this one conference here in Atlanta where he sold out the stadium here. It had never been done before. Soar, Destiny is another book that reached wide audiences and bestseller. His multimedia empire, yes, I said multimedia empire, separate from his pastoral duties, spans television, music, and film, most notably through his production company, TD Jakes Enterprises, and his film work includes Jumping the Broom and Miracles from Heaven. He's won awards for all of this, separate from his work in the church. Jakes is also a respected voice in business and leadership, hosting the annual International Leadership Summit. The only thing wrong with that summit is he lowered his standards to let me speak, and advises leaders across faith, politics, and commerce. His work frequently bridges the gap between spirituality and personal development, especially within the African American community. He also gets no credit. He also, no good deed shall go unpunished. I was talking to Charlemagne that God, a friend of ours, the radio personality, probably arguably one of the 2 or 3 most influential in African culture in the world. And he was saying, as he talking about icons who just get no appreciation, he mentioned Oprah, he mentioned a couple other names, and he mentioned TD Jakes in the same breath. And I think that's the appropriate analogy. But when I'm talking to him offline, we're just experiencing fellowship and authenticity. And I consider him a dear friend. Now I am now getting into the substance of this. So it's not just a total love fest for him. I want you to see what I see. I want you to hear what I hear. He's got advice for you for this time, which is a moment in history. So when you said Chairman Jakes, Bishop T.D. Jakes, and I'm going to start Bishop T.D. Jakes first because I believe this is a spiritual conversation that goes into a business conversation and a personal development conversation. But I think people are lost. I think people need healing, and they need direction. They need rooting, grounding. They need to be put in good soil again. They're adrift, I think. I think people are depressed. And so you've got a good pulse of sort of where the world is and where it's going. You're very rarely surprised, even when somebody's attacking you. You're disappointed, but you're not surprised. Because you see where the world's going, you see the pain, and hurt people hurt people. And you told me folks are going back inside one day. Black folks going back inside. I thought it was, I didn't know what you meant, but I thought it was hilarious. I'm like, what is that? What does that mean? And sure enough, black folks went back inside. When you say we need to make boring sexy, what do you mean by that?
Well, first of all, thank you for allowing me the privilege of being with you. And if there's anything boring, it's probably all the things you said about me.
Not true.
Maybe we can get to the sexy part.
Your brain is sexy.
I think that I'm not sure we ever fully came out from COVID. When you start talking about people going inside, introverted, staying in the house, stop going to theaters, stop going to malls, stop going out as much. I think we still are somewhat sheltering in place. More recently with the immigration issues and all of the other things that are threatening us, inflation, so forth and so on. I think we are still sheltering in place, taking less vacations, going on less ventures, more apprehensive about buying property, building, advancing ourselves. And I think that we have to come out of the shadows and into the light. And while we are in the shadows, we have to use this to understand that we're in the middle of a paradigm shift, such as we have not seen since the invention of the car or the airplane. And it's important that we understand that. You can ignore it if you want to and keep your horse and buggy, but the roads are not going to be amenable to your horse and buggy because the whole world is changing through technology and AI and all of that. And we either get with it or get run over by it. So, we have to take, I'm currently signing up to take a Google course to become more adept at AI. You have to keep learning at every age and every stage in order to be relative, if not marketable,
Yes.
uh, if not communicative. The language has changed, the methods have changed. And I think now, like never before, we're on an even playing field because nobody knows what they're doing.
Mm,
You know, AI is new to everybody. So
yes.
maybe for once in a lifetime, everybody is learning at the same time in the same way. And we
Mhm.
need to take advantage of that rather than to scream at the darkness. We need to light a candle, read a book, pick up
Read
some,
a book.
yeah, do something constructive because this may be the only time in history that we're all starting out basically as it relates to artificial intelligence, almost illiterate. We're all
Mm.
learning together, we're growing together, we're discovering together, and that's a good opportunity to do a reset, to transform the way we think, the way we function, and the way we plan our future.
I'm going to ask you a question I never asked you before, ever. Do
Uh,
you think the current political transformations and changes that we are witnessing in our lifetime that we've never seen in this way before as relates to people of color and black people in particular, formerly enslaved on American soil, and rights designed to protect them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The changes going on here that maybe send us into a place more of self-reliance in our attitudes, maybe. Um, is that more a threat, or is AI, the coming AI revolution that you just mentioned, more a threat? Before you answer that, I would say, just to show how prescient and brilliant you are, I was just on the phone with our mutual hero, Ambassador Andrew Young, who wants me to come by his house and hook up Chat GPT on his phone at 93 years 93 years young. And it wasn't a request, it was a direction, right? And he wants all the other social media platforms there so he can watch it like he thinks this is the new TV. I think he's right, by the way. And he wants YouTube on there, the whole thing. Van Jones, who is a mutual friend of ours, said that 99% of black folks don't know a thing about AI, and 99% of white folks don't know a thing about AI either. It was mutual opportunity discrimination. We're all starting at the same place, which is essentially what you just said.
yes.
So, in your opinion, is one of these changes or challenges or moments in time more challenging and more important to maneuver than the other, or do you think they're equally important?
I think it's the perfect storm if we don't use it as an opportunity to strengthen from within. Uh,
Mm.
Nobody's coming to save us. Nobody's coming to rescue us. Nobody's coming to get us. It is clear and apparent that less and less people are even interested in us. And so that forces us into a conundrum where either we shout and cry and picket and tweet and post and do all that sort of stuff, which does absolutely nothing, or we use it as a time to strengthen from within internally, partnering with each other, amassing our wealth, our talent, our strength, our creativity, and our ideas, and uplift ourselves the way other immigrants who have come here before have been able to do. And it's naive of us to think that eventually we won't be on the hit list and up under attack and maybe pursued too, as fear has created an atmosphere where anybody who is other is being stalked. So I
Mhm.
think that we have to think about building our communities, building our grocery stores, building our dry cleaners, building our restaurants, doing things that are entrepreneurial, that strengthen from within, not to the exclusion of other people, but to the inclusion of getting into the market and understanding the marketplace and doing it from a spiritual place And I say a spiritual place. I do mean biblical, but I also mean a spiritual place, meaning I think you can only reproduce what you are.
Mm.
You can teach what you know, but you can only reproduce what you are.
Mm.
You could teach Mandarin, but that doesn't make you Chinese. Okay, so you can teach a lot of things, but you reproduce what you are, and you are the most productive and the most fruitful when you bore down inside of yourself and see what treasure lies within you and bring that to fruition. You cannot bring grapes out of tomato seeds. So, understanding what you have been given, being comfortable with being authentic, and being able to turn it into something that is fruitful and productive is what we're going to have to do in this time and in this season.
You know, as you're talking, and every time I listen to you, every time I listen to Ambassador Andrew Young, who I talked to earlier today, I learned something. I can't say that about most of my conversations. I learned something. I just learned something from you that moment. I've actually, in that moment, understood what you meant by make boring sexy.
Mm-hmm.
Or actually, you didn't say that. You said we need to be boring again, or something like that. It was. I just remember you phrased boring, and you wanted boring to be. And I didn't really get it till now. What I heard you say was, in my interpretation, there were long periods of time where you could fake it until you made it. That's a whole phrase people use. Fake it till you make it. This is not one of those times.
Right.
that you can't be going on, saying I'm gonna be a surgeon because you saw somebody do surgery on YouTube. You cannot be a financial influencer when you're not a financial success story yourself. The times are too complicated. This is no time to be playing around. You got to be real about whatever you're doing. You can't be out here faking it about AI. AI don't care, right? You can't be faking it about whatever it is you're doing. The world is literally changing underneath you, and it don't care what your Instagram says or your LinkedIn says or whatever. Are you real or are you not? And if you aren't, this moment might tell you to thunder, because this moment is is made of historic, once in a century at least, change. Did I get that partially right?
Yeah. In addition to what you said, I think we have to consider the fact that in Hollywood, they say that we come out more rapidly if it's a comedy show. If it's comedic, you sell tickets better. If it's hip hop or music, we come out better.
You mean we mean black people?
Black people, yeah,
Got it.
black people, yes.
Right.
If you want clickbait, let it be salacious.
Right.
And all of that's exciting, and church, that's exciting. But when it comes to being informative, where you have to learn and take notes and write down things and learn something, we shy away from it. And that's why I say boring has got to come back to a place of being attractive. It's got to be something where we're willing to quit joking and high-fiving and playing around and making memes and playing games and being salacious. While we're being salacious, districts are being taken over, the country's being taken over, the political
we're being targeted,
taken over, voting rights is being taken over, and we're running around seeing, how salacious and indifferent or humorous we can be. And this is not a laughing time. This is a serious, serious time that we really have to apply ourselves in order to be appropriate. And I'm not sure that, like the Native Americans, instead of being given liquor and getting drunk on liquor, I'm not sure that we haven't gotten drunk on foolishness. And while we are getting drunk on foolishness, there are other people who are buying up property, building communities, doing things to change the world, starting banks, setting up CDFIs, doing things that really make a difference, setting up LLPs, LLCs, S corporations, C corporations, doing things that really, really matter. And when we start talking about those things that really matter, a lot of times those terminologies go right over top of our head. but we've got our own language and we've got our own colloquialisms, but our colloquialisms don't pay anything in the marketplace. We have to learn the language of the successful if we're going to have a seat at the table. What good is a seat at the table if you can't converse once you're sitting at the table? And so that's going to mean that we're going to have to stop scrolling so much and start reading a little bit more. That's going to mean that we're going to have to listen at podcasts like this. That's going to mean that we have to read books, listen at books, audio books, infusing ourselves with information and finding other people who can communicate with you. Because when you find friends who are thinking on your level, you become a lot more productive than you have to dumb down to keep your old friends and maintain your old station to prove that you don't lose your black card. You have to be able to go through the metamorphosis of rejection and find who you really are now and who you need to be in this season of your life. This is a new season of your life. And this is not a new idea. That's what Black Wall Street was made out of. Your own cleaners, your own hotels, your own restaurants, your own this, that, or the other, making a way for yourself. That's what the Chinatown and all kinds of places all over the world, Mexican grocery stores, all people that make it in this country do it because they learn how to get together. We, rather than fusing together, seem to love to obliterate each other rather than to make the connections that are necessary to be progressive economically and intellectually.
You said something earlier about being at the table. I've often said, Bishop, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
Right. Right.
And we are playing around at the table. We're messing around at the table. We're playing, they're playing chess. We're playing checkers. And this is no time to be messing around, to your point. Now, let me say something that you're not going to say, but I think it's important. I was recently at your Good Soil event where you once again had, the charity to allow me to speak. And you opened it up with none other than Oprah Winfrey. Now, I want this to sink into the audience. Okay. Who can get Oprah Winfrey? I know her. She's giving me an award. I'm honored by it. I can email her, but I'm not going to say that's my girl. Like, you don't roll up on Oprah Winfrey. She told me 15, 20 years ago, if I want to reach somebody, don't refer anybody to me. If I want to reach somebody, I'll find them. Don't be giving me my number, right? I love that standard. I love the Oprah Winfrey standard that she doesn't put her arm, please now listen to me, audience. She doesn't put her arm around anybody who doesn't have as much reputationally to lose as she does. And I've adopted it in my own life. Bishop T.D. Jakes had her on his stage in the last 2 weeks. He had Denzel Washington for a deep conversation before that. These conversations, the Denzel Washington conversation went everywhere globally. This one, when it finally is released publicly, I believe, will go everywhere. Why am I saying this? People have no idea who this man is and the influence he has. The deals that he's able to pull together for us, the thing that he did with Wells Fargo, which we're going to talk about, is unprecedented for a Black man. And look, I deal with banking. I know these folks. I partner with these folks. I'm not pulling off $200 million deals with the likes of Wells Fargo. It could be worth as much as $1 billion, actually. People naively think that the money went in his pocket, by the way, which is also crazy to me. It's massive financial illiteracy. These are opportunities for him to develop properties for people and blah, blah, blah. It's just opportunities it's opportunity for opportunity is what it is. But people just have misnomers about money. None of this is my point. Here's my point. Oprah gets on stage at Good Soil and says that recently she had to call YouTube. She never does this because somebody had saw her, I'm only repeating this because she said it. I'm not going to say it as bluntly as she said it, in a inappropriate state with a person currently being investigated. And she's like, it's not me. is AI. I didn't, of course, it's not me. She called to get them to take it down. They said, whatever, freedom of speech or whatever. No. Now, Bishop goes to a party with 4 staff people, right? And to somebody who's a member of his church. And all of a sudden you have all this noise going on, which is, again, the FBI don't play. If the FBI is, if you're on the FBI's list and I know something about it, I've got FBI clearance security clearance for being an advisor to the president several times over. If you're on their list, they got your phone, they got your email, they got your records. Ain't no, oh, I saw somebody on the FBI list. Oh, FBI is it? No. You know the FBI is on you when they come and knock on your door. And the minute that something goes down, because they need to lock down all the information, your whole world you're locked out of your whole world. Most importantly, they have your phone. They ain't talked to this man one time, right? In 2 years, not one time. And he's a spiritual advisor, supposedly. I think there are people who are saying that to give themselves cover of his credibility, by the way. But supposedly he's a spiritual advisor. Come on, knock it off. Right? So, but this stuff goes viral. So they went viral on Oprah. It went viral on him. People trying to get clickbait, playing around, trying to get clicks so they can get paid, so they can become relevant. And what he's saying and what I'm saying is knock that off. There's no time for all that stuff. And it's interesting how Black people often increasingly are attacking Black people. I said it, right? You got a whole bunch of Black celebrities, about 10 of them, that have been attacked by other Black celebrities. We got enough problems.
And might I jump in and say this?
Yeah.
When that first broke out, it was 44,000 bots that were released on me. And for people who read, Swoops, who does the investigation for NBC and other news outlets, discovered that 98% of them were all artificial intelligence generated. The other thing that it really proved to me, to Oprah, to Denzel, to all the people, it's everybody. It's everybody. You can name anybody. It goes along with the turf. Is that we have got to stop getting our information on TikTok. Right. That's a good place to start.
Right. By the way, there is an FBI website. You can just go there.
yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of water under the bridge. If there were anything there, the FBI would have been in it. Everybody would have been in it.
I just wanted to say it.
There's no hiding it. It's like when I had my health scare. Within seconds, it was all over the world. Yeah. You wouldn't have to find it on Instagram. You wouldn't have to find it on YouTube. You would find it in the 6 o'clock news. You would find it everywhere. Much to my surprise, actually, when I had my health scare, how far it went.
Because the world, that was the world reminding you what was really important.
Yes.
That actually you're appreciated and loved by people that really matter. By the way, interesting when we had that conversation, when you had the conversation with Oprah, I make the point because if they're going to attack Oprah, they'll attack. I mean, the frequency is so low. If you're going to go after Oprah, you go after anybody. So number one, and two, she wasn't aware that you'd been attacked because she don't watch low frequency stuff.
No.
Right? She was completely stunned that you had any experience with that because she don't mess around with that stuff. She's at a higher frequency. So
which really goes to our point.
Yeah.
If you ingest poison, don't be shocked when you die.
Hello.
It takes all I can do at my age to try to stay current with what's going on, because AI is moving so fast that it is very difficult to tell misinformation, disinformation from real information. You have to be quite shrewd and sometimes professional to be able to do that. And yet we have to keep up with not only being able to detect the true from the false, but also to keep up with the quick and sudden changes that AI is making, that is changing the frontier of employment, that's causing a lot of people to lose their jobs and causing a lot of prepared people to find their jobs and to move into realms where we can really get something done. I don't want to waste time talking about that. I really want to talk about what we came to build. We came to build communities. We came to do, through our relationships with Wells Fargo and others. We want to build communities. We gave away $10 million last year to HBCUs and various institutions that were doing something positive in the community. At the event that you were at, we gave away
$500,000.
$500,000 for a fast pitch competition to help
That's
people to
what.
go into business. We gave $100,000 to a HBCU recently in Atlanta. We're about the work. I don't want to be distracted by the noise.
Yeah, but hold on, Bishop.
And
Hold on, Bishop. Yeah, hold on. I'm probably one of the few people he's gonna let do this for him because he doesn't want to be defended at all. But I need to make something. That wasn't my point. Here's my point. Ambassador Andrew Young was attacked by the U.S. Senate, who accused him of crazy things. He was attacked by people. He had to resign as a UN ambassador. No one remembers that. Dr. King was attacked by his so-called friends. I mean, he died chain smoking, overweight, and depressed. He thought he'd failed. Malcolm X was attacked. Like whoever you admire in the world history, if they're doing something, they've been attacked. By the way, I've been attacked. All right. So my point was, he just got his stripes for you.
Yeah.
He's taking his hits for you. He's doing this for you, and I want you to appreciate that no success comes easy. No leadership is without pain or suffering. And I want to thank you, Bishop Chairman T.D. Jakes, for all you do for the countless people who you do not know, and you do it anyway. I like what you're doing much better than what other people are not doing. Right. And also, thank you, Oprah Winfrey. You a bad sister, and I hope you're watching this. Okay.
So having said that, and that is true, the most painful part of going through anything is what it takes your children through, your grandchildren through, your spouse through. At that particular time, my wife had a knee replacement and could hardly get to the bathroom. They were saying she had moved to Canada and left me. But surviving all of that is difficult and painful, but it goes with the territory. You cannot become distracted by the naysayers and lose sight of the vision and the purpose of what you're trying to build. And as hard as it is to do that, it's important that you understand that you keep the main thing the main thing.
Main thing.
Yeah, and when necessary, you have to take legal action. When necessary, you have to ignore it. And you have to decide cautiously which one is the best thing to do. What I chose to focus on is building communities. In the time of my pastorate, in the years that I've been pastoring the Potter's House, we have acquiesced 1,000 acres of land. We've built 300 homes. We're set to build 3,000 more homes over the next 2 years of mixed income housing. Developments for people, closing food deserts in various communities, not just in Dallas, but in other places. We're looking at doing things that are productive. I don't have time at 68 to spend the rest of my years arguing on the back of a school bus with a bunch of kids and throwing books at each other. There's something about getting older that makes you get wiser, and you become less concerned about image and more concerned about impact. Yeah. And I think today we are so sensitive about image that we don't focus on impact, and we get distracted and disrupted. People who are the most productive are single-eyed. They're focused on what they're trying to do. And what I'm hoping your listeners will walk away from is understanding there's a problem. We've got a little over 40% of African Americans own their own home compared to 75% of their white counterparts. There's a problem with that. If we can get those numbers up 10%, it will have a $300 billion impact on the national GNP. If we can get our numbers up just a little bit, just 10%, would change. So this is not just about Black people. This is about America, because regardless of what we think, Black history is American history.
That's right.
What happens to one of us happens to all of us.
That's
If
right.
one of us gets COVID, we all get COVID. Doesn't matter whether it comes from Asia or whether it comes from Antarctica. It's going to spread everywhere. The air doesn't go by zip codes. Disease pays no attention to addresses. And so we have to be vigilant and understanding that we are our brother's keeper, and our brothers don't always look like us.
Yes.
But the ramifications of ignoring any group of people long enough is going to lead to the detriment of all people. And until we see ourselves as one people and understand that we are one species, then our species will be endangered. And my concern is I'm afraid that we're going to make something, create something like artificial intelligence that ends up being smarter than its creator and its predecessor if we don't keep up with what's going on right now, and use it as a tool and make sure that our laws stay up to date so that we can use it as a tool for building rather than a tool for demolishing society and leading to our downfall. It's not hard to become extinct.
Woo!
It's not hard to become
Come
extinct.
on, talk to me. It's not hard to become extinct.
Until you unify, you are apt to become extinct. And one of our problems in this country is not coming from other people, it's coming from internally because we don't gel together like we should. Having said that, I do want to say that because we did the investigation, some of the things that passes for black on black sabotage and misinformation doesn't even come from inside our country. It is outside forces distracting us, happening intensely during elections, so that we're so busy looking at other things that we're not really in tune to the fact that we need to be doing the things that we need to be doing to make our society better. We need to be teaching our children about STEM programs. We need to be teaching them how to code and how to progress. And so that's what I'm doing when you don't see me on the stage, and you just see me on the stage less and less after almost 50 years of preaching. I want to see the word made flesh through the things that I do. I'd rather see a message than hear a message anytime. And a lot of people don't know this, but I'm going to share this for the benefit of your audience. TD Jakes Enterprise, which is my for-profit company, is older than the Potter's House.
Wow, really?
So they think that I pastored the Potter's House and now I'm going into business. I never left business. I was doing business when I came.
Right.
I was doing movies when I came.
Your mother was a landlord, right?
Yeah, I've been doing it for years. It is way older than the Potter's House. And so one hand washes the other. I think that business people need more spirituality. I think spiritual people need better business skills. So I don't think that they're mutually exclusive one to the other. Not every pastor has to go down that road. Not every leader has to go down that road. But you give people what you are. Again, you can teach what you know, but you can only reproduce what you are.
Amen. And which is why you made this beautiful transition from ministry to the marketplace, or you're making this transition. Talk to us about, first of all, ILS. Why did you do ILS? And then I want to go to good soil.
The leadership thing is there are transferable truths. People think if you preach the gospel, you don't have to get a mortgage. They think if you preach the gospel, you might not need human resources. They think if you go down to the bank and speak in tongues, you can buy the property. That's not true. You have to have a certain business acumen today. In the Bible days, they didn't have to do that. They went from house to house breaking bread. Now you need a specific place to worship. So you have to do business. We are in the world, though we're not of the world. We have to be able to function in this present world. And so that's true. When you talk about me going into business, it's not so much that I went into business. It's just that the only way people knew me was what they saw on TV. And the only thing they saw on TV was me preaching. Yes. But it's like Shaq. You saw him play basketball, but all the while he was buying up property, doing business, owning companies, and then it goes, surprise.
Right.
People make assumptions about you based on how they met you,
Yeah.
and they define you by how they see you, and they incarcerate you by how they label you. And I say this not
Woo.
for my defense, but for the benefit of those that are listening at me today. Just because you're an accountant doesn't mean that you can't be a restaurateur. Just because you own a restaurant doesn't mean that you couldn't own condos. Don't let people incarcerate you by their description of you and then isolate you from all the other gifts that lie inside of you. There are lots of gifts that lie inside of all of us. I'm not an anomaly. I'm not unique. You're seeing it around us all the time, that people have multiple interests. They explore multiple interests. People like yourself do multiple things on multiple platforms in different ways. And we have to stop labeling people and then beating them because they don't stay in our label.
Woo. Talk to me. I like what you're doing much better than what other people are not doing. And and,
Right,
and
right.
and one of the things you're doing, another we didn't mention, you're about to launch a podcast network, didn't you?
Yes, 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 yes. I'm excited about it. A little nervous, a little nervous. Every
Okay.
time I do something I've never done before, I don't
You're a
know
little nervous. It's
how
not.
it's going to go. But yes, I have a deal with iHeart, as you do, and I have
Your deal's bigger than mine.
huh?
Your deal's bigger than mine. You got a whole network.
Yeah, I got a whole network, and piece by piece, I'm going to launch that network starting this fall, and I'm going to start it with my podcast is going to be called My Next Chapter. Uh, I think everybody's trying to figure out what their next chapter is.
Mm.
Everything's being uprooted. Jobs are being taken away. DEI has moved out of the way. Things are changing. You're at a different stage of life than you were. You're empty nesting. What is going to be your next chapter, and who are you going to let write it? Are you going to write it, or are you going to let other people write it for you and spend your life living up to their expectations? Those are the things that I'm going to bring people on. I brought Oprah on because I think she's interesting. I think she started making mud pies in Mississippi and ended up with a network in Chicago, not Hollywood, in Chicago. Landed a deal that was unprecedented, never been landed before or ever will be again, where she owned her own show in a way that was unprecedented. Then did a network, owned the network, cashed out her shares in her network, and it was a business symposium. It wasn't a church service. It was a business symposium for entrepreneurs to help us to grow and scale. The dollar, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, but
Oh, I love this.
the dollar in our community stays about 6 hours. In the
Woo.
Asian community, it stays about 34 days. What does that mean? That means that if I get a dollar and I live in our zip code, in order to get the dry cleaners done, in order to get my hair done, in order to get a weave in order to do whatever, I have to give capital to somebody outside of my neighborhood within 6 hours.
Mm.
Whereas other people groups start companies and businesses that they are passing the money around and it's circulating in their community several times, 34 days in the Asian community before it breaks out. 6 hours is all we got.
Mm.
That means we don't own anything in our own community. We're not teaching people to be entrepreneurs, to be business people. And everybody's not an entrepreneur, but you either are one or you work for one. And it doesn't mean that you're going to start Microsoft. It may mean that you just run a cleaners, a dry cleaners. It may mean that you just run a grocery store. But
Plumbing.
the point is, we are not taught to think about ownership. We are only taught to think about stewardship, and we are
Woo.
stewarding what other people own. So we will manage the shoe store, but somebody else owns the shoe store. They will sell us shoes that they would never wear and put a manager in that looks like us and own it and take the capital. And eventually we will get angry at the people for buying what we could have bought. The building was for sale. We
Mm.
could have bought it. We could have opened up the business,
Right.
but we don't think like that. We don't talk like that. So when you start talking about leadership, it's not just for pastors, it's not just for CEOs, it's for everybody. When you start talking about entrepreneurship, like Good Soil, and I invite everybody to download the Good Soil, not only to attend the Good Soil Forum, but to download the Good Soil app, where there is a community of over 40, now 50,000 people in there communicating with each other, cross-pollinating, getting ideas from each other, and spawning an ability to keep that dollar from leaving our community so quickly.
So all this begins to make sense. ILS
Yes.
is International Leadership Symposium, thought leadership at an international level. Then Good Soil is literally putting people back into good soil so they go from the streets to the suites, from PhD to PhD.
Right.
You're trying to give them the tools in a practical way to operationalize the leadership you just inspired them at ILS with.
Right.
Your daughter is trying to inspire women,
Right.
which are a third of the GDP, to become, to take their agency. I'm just saying what I'm seeing.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Potter's House continues to ground itself as a spiritual beacon and a lighthouse for the world out of Dallas. So it's not one or the other, it's both.
No.
And you got development deals and communications deals. I mean, you've got a little conglomerate going on here of thought and action. How many employees do you have just at Potter's House?
350 in all.
You're a major employer.
Yeah, 350.
You're making a payroll every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know.
At Potter's House.
Trust me, I know. I really know.
And now your daughter is taking that on. That's a success in and of itself.
With benefits, with 401k plans, with a human resources department. I built it that way because I saw it that way.
Woo! Say it again.
You have to build it the way you see it, and that's what a vision is. Success isn't a dollar amount. It's not a certain size building, not a certain size company. Success is when you envision something in your head and you see it manifest in front of your face.
That's it.
So if you build what you see, you can live in what you dream.
That part.
Okay. So it starts in the man. As a man thinketh, so is he. And that's why we've got to expose our children at early ages with people who are thinking things that make it possible for them to believe that it's possible to be something more. And let me say something else, because we've talked a lot in racial terms. I'm for all of humanity.
Amen. There
is no one group of people in our society that can keep our species alive without the other.
Yes.
This thing of purging, if you get a slice of the pie, I don't get a slice of the pie. Right. No, let's grow the pie.
That's right.
Let's grow the pie out. It's for the betterment of everybody. You can't have all Asian people. There's not enough of them. You can't have all Caucasian people. There's not enough of them. You can't have all African people. There's not enough of them. You can't have all African Americans. But together, if we would let all of us rise together, when one boat rises, all ships rise. And so this isn't this notion that we have today that if one group goes up, that's the reason we're down.
Right.
Is a very, very foolish idea. It's a very foolish idea. It is not good for us to be alone. You don't want to get there by yourself. There's not enough of any one group of people to run this planet. We need all of us in battle, in warfare, in success, in creation, and industry, and productivity, and artificial intelligence. We need all of us. We need all of us. And we need to find a way to work together, or we're going to become extinct as all of those species before us that are no longer roaming around in the earth are proof positive that you can lose your way and become extinct and become bones in a museum.
Woo! That's what I'm talking about. And you don't want to rearrange the deck chairs of the Titanic. The ship is sinking and we're picking drapes.
Right.
So you are a lifetime learner. That's what I know about you. Now I'm going to
Yes.
switch now to Chairman Jakes. I've been dealing with Bishop T.D. Jakes. You're a lifetime learner. You just said you're going to go to a Google class. You said that. You just said it in passing. There was another smart friend of mine told me yesterday they're going to an AI. They're a member of the AI Ethics Council, actually. I do with Sam Altman, the president, outgoing president for Morehouse College, Dr. David Thomas. As he's retiring this year, he's going to take an AI class online. He wants to learn. You're a lifetime learner, Chairman Jakes. How has your definition of leadership evolved over time, especially as you move into new spaces and places? Do you have some fundamental truths that you can share for leaders coming behind you that are trying to maneuver in these times?
Well, first of all, I'm reading 3 books at the same time.
I love it.
At the same time.
Yeah.
I'm very, very fascinated with things that confuse me. I like to be in rooms where I feel like a fool, because that means that there's space for me to grow and develop and evolve.
Yes.
I like to list terms and languages so that I can become fluent. It's like being in another country. You learn the language so you can order off the menu. When you're in the banking business, you have to learn the language so you can order off the menu. If you're dealing with architects, you have to learn the language so you can order off the menu. And a lot of us don't learn any language beyond our zip code. And as long as we only learn the language of our zip code, we can only live at one address.
Woo!
So learn to be a lifetime learner is to expand your borders, to lengthen your stakes, to be broader in your thinking. Don't be afraid to ask somebody, what does that mean? Wait a minute, slow that down. What are you saying there? What do you mean by that? We're so busy trying to look the part that we lose sight of being the part. and so we will have on the right outfit, but in here we're empty and void of the conversation to be able to get in there and do business on the level we need to. So America is consuming, not manufacturing. African Americans, we consume, we don't manufacture. We consume technology. Homeless people have Apple phones. Everybody's got a phone. We consume it, but we don't make it. Until we start making what we're consuming or investing in what we are using, we're going to find ourselves always on the deficit. We're on somebody's bottom line as a profit margin. You've got to be profit, because you can't be a manufacturer if you're just a consumer. And we tend to consume perishable goods, goods that lose their value as they go along and depreciate rather than appreciate. So we drive cars off the lot that drop 50% when we drive them off the lot. We're good with that. I'm fine with that if you got everything else in order. But we need to think in terms of appreciating assets, valuing appreciating assets. What can we make? The first thing God said to man was be fruitful. He didn't say be fruitful, produce. And if you are a producer, you will always have a job.
Yes. So as well, man, this could go on forever, but I don't want you to, I know you're busy and you have limited time. So in the few minutes we've got left, I'm going to let you loose, literally, to give your vision for all of us and where we go from here and what things you want people to focus on. All you're doing and what you want to people to know you're about going forward and what you want them to be about. I want you to give, I never do this on this podcast, but I want you to give the last word and the vision of where do we go from here. Dr. King's last book, where do we go from here? Before we get there, though, I want to ground a little bit more into this moment and how prepared I think you are for this moment, because you've constantly stayed a child. You've constantly stayed nosy. You've constantly stayed curious. You've constantly recognized you have two ears and one mouth, so you listen twice as much as you talk. You constantly stayed, most important, authentic and having humility. People would be amazed how powerful you are, yet how much humility in private you articulate. When I met Bishop T.D. Jakes, was years and years ago, and I didn't think he remembered me. That's my fault, by the way. I just assumed he didn't know me because he meets so many people. My wife wanted to meet you. Otherwise, I would never approach you. I was in Africa, and she was it was me and her and Ambassador Andrew Young. And I believe it was the same trip we got engaged, but that's a separate issue. And, or it's not important to this point. But she wanted to meet, she heard you were speaking at a conference next to where we were. I just need to meet this man. He is a hero to me. Okay. I know him just well enough to introduce you. So we walked over where you were signing books. And I used the fact that I had some reputation at that point, and maybe you remembered me. I said I'm a founder of Operation Open. You looked up from signing books, said, "Yeah, no, of course I know who you are," right? And you were very gracious. Probably lied to me, but it was very nice. It was very, very, very nice of you to say, "Of course I know who you are," and you made me look good to my then fiance. Here's Shatra, and you guys met, took a picture. I had to go find that picture. About 3 or 4 years later, we're in California, in Northern California, at a picnic behind in the backyard of some billionaire's house. Felicia Horowitz, give her credit. She had invited me to a barbecue, and I didn't go one time, and I wanted to respect her invitation the next time. And I appreciate her and her husband. So I show up to the barbecue with Shatra, and there you go. Two things happened that day. My man, who's now governor for Maryland,
Yes.
asked me, should he go into politics? Westmore, our brother. And I told him no. I told him to go into business. And luckily he ignored me. And I walk over, and there's my man, my hero, or one of my heroes, Bishop T.D. Jakes. And you had on this beautiful jean outfit. You were very appropriate for the backyard vibe. And I shook your hand, and you asked me to sit down. And we talked for a minute. It was your wife was there, who looks like a teenager. And you took my number. And I was on, oh my God, T.D. Jakes, what's my phone number? And one day I'm sitting up late at night with Shatra, and the phone rings. You did text me first. I think you said, can you talk? And so I said, sure. And I'm honored to get this phone call. And you start peppering me with questions. I don't know if you remember this. You start peppering me with questions about real estate. You want to know everything there was to know about this deal I had done on Promise Homes Company in real estate. I was so impressed. Here is the great, iconic, global T.D. Jakes. And he's curious like a little child.
And he's
about
stupid.
No, and you become brilliant now at the thing you were curious about. And now you have done a $200 million deal and more to come, and got plots of land in multiple cities, trying to provide housing and resources for our people. Tell this audience what your magic sauce is, where you are now, where you're going, that's important to you for them to know, and what they should do.
First of all, let me begin by saying that I can take you to places in Illinois where you can go across the street into one zip code, and the average lifespan is 3 to 5 years longer than people who live on the other side of the street. The other side of the street. The zip code makes a difference to the longevity of life.
Yes.
The quality of life begins with where we live.
Yes.
And so building homes not only is an aggregation of wealth and an opportunity to accrue value as that wealth grows, but it also is an opportunity for you to have better services, healthcare, getting away from neighborhoods that are full of payday loans and liquor stores and things that are just dragging greasy foods, stores, and putting us in healthier environments extends the quality of our life. So our focus is mixed income neighborhoods. Or that's what we want to do. We want to close food deserts where people have to drive out of their neighborhood just to get food, have to drive out of their neighborhood just to get gas, have to drive out of their neighborhood to be when they have a health care. I
Mm.
can't go to an urgent care or a health facility in their own neighborhood. No senior citizens complexes. We got the largest group of boomers that are in that age group of boomers in the history of America, and we don't have enough places for them to stay. Can't keep grandpa on the front porch anymore because nobody's home to watch him. And so
Mm.
we have to start thinking in terms of strategy. We've got single mothers who need a place to leave their children that doesn't cost them as much as the rent that they stay in. We
Mm.
need affordable housing that's affordable but still attractive, luxury at an affordable price. Those things are things that I want to leave behind. It's not about self-aggrandizement. It's not about making a name for myself. I have more name than I want, and I have less years than I have capital. And so at this point, it's about legacy.
Yeah.
It's about saying thank you to the people who bought the books, who went to the movies, who helped me to be who I was, and to leave something behind that's tangible, that's touchable, rather than just leaving words and tapes and messages. I want to leave something behind that raises up more of my kind, more kids, more engineers, more dreamers, more thinkers, more philosophers, more teachers, more John Hope Bryants, more Dr. Kings, more Andrew Youngs. They have to be in atmospheres where they're not getting shot, where they're not being murdered, where they're not being killed. So those are some of the things that we want to do. And we want to give, not everybody is going to come out with a PhD, but some of them will be entrepreneurs. Some of them will do manual labor. Some of them will fix air conditioners. Some of them, we've got to find a way that we can service all the different types of skill sets that exist in our communities. And I want to be a part of building that kind of community with walking trails and bike trails. And I think that we are suffering mentally because we are so lonely.
Yeah.
So creating parks and open spaces where you can actually know who your neighbors are and not be afraid in your own house. All of our properties are designed in such a way that you can have a sense of community again, whether you're black, white, red, blue, Gen X, Gen Z, Gen Q, Gen Y. It doesn't matter what alphabet you have. That we begin to understand.
Whether you're drinking gin.
You said that I did. That we want to create that 5 generation space where grandma's coming from the grocery store and kids are riding bikes through and skateboards and create some of the things that our counterparts have. And if I only get that 10%, I will have affected the gross national product of this country
Yes.
for $400 billion, I think it is. $400 billion worth of income just to hit 10%. So those are some of the things that we're after, and we're mentoring each other, and we're teaching each other, and we're helping each other, irregardless of the color of your skin, or your age, or IQ. There's something in there that will help you to evolve and become who you're going to be. I plan to be at Martha's Vineyard. I'm going to be talking about global economy. I'm going to be talking about why aren't we doing business with the Caribbeans? Why are we not doing business with the Africans? Why are we not doing business with the Canadians? Why are we not finding a way to integrate our products without trying to get on the shelves of stores that don't want us on there? There's technology has provided us a way that you can run a store through a laptop. So we need to rethink how we do business for the 21st century. I want to initiate the conversation. I'm not smart enough to have all the answers, but I got the platform, and I want to use the platform to put the smart people up there and take notes so that we can all learn together and teach our children and grandchildren that life does not end and begin with scrolling on your phone?
Woo! You said a word, man. You said a word. This has been a ministry, just a ministry of finance.
Yeah.
Let me say this as we close. A couple of things people don't know about my man, Bishop Chairman T.D. Jakes. When he calls me, it's never about him. Not one time. It's never about him. It's always about we and not me. One day he called me, pulled me out of a meeting. John, did you see it? See what? Check your text. Look at my text. It's a STEM program in Dallas for young strivers. And he was so excited that the media covered these young bright lights so they would have some attention, some acknowledgement, not that they were murdered or shot on some street corner or they were stole, that which normally gets the press, but they were trying to improve themselves from the neck up, and they had the capacity to do it. That's what excites them. Yeah. And that's what you just heard, a version of that. I've said this to my wife. I've never said it publicly. I'm going to say this for the first time. Bishop doesn't know I'm going to say this. In the 33 years since I founded Operation Hope, $4.5 billion that we've deployed in the underserved communities, largest financial literacy coaching organization in America, 1,500 offices. I've dealt with thousands and thousands and thousands of community leaders. I've only known one person that I've written a check to another community-based nonprofit that was Ebenezer Church here in Atlanta to create the Hope Inside Center there, and the Daddy King Center that stands today that doesn't have my name on it, doesn't have Operation Hope's name on it. But without us writing that check, they couldn't have got the matching funds and the construction loan to get that building up, which is a monument to Daddy King, Dr. King's father at Ebenezer Church. Thank you, Reverend Warnock, for your Senator Warnock, Reverend Warnock, for your leadership there. The only other person, black man, that I know that's written a check to another minority organization that I'm aware of is Bishop T.D. Jakes. He wrote a check to me, to Operation Hope. I didn't ask him. He wrote a check to Brown College, which is trying to get his credentials back, $100,000. I'm not sure another black person has ever written them a six-figure check. He's written a check to HBCUs. He wrote a $500,000 check at the pitch competition for Good Soil, which just happened, by the way, Reverend Michael Phillips. Good job doing that, pulling that off. He wrote a check to Operation Hope for our services, which he know if he called me and asked me to do him a favor, I would have, and we'd have done it for free. But he thought, this is going to cost you money. You got staff, you have bills to pay. Here's some compensation. This is what nobody knows. You need people like this around. Protect them. Protect them with every breath you've got. They aren't coming anymore. Not only is nobody coming to save you, there aren't any more Bishop T.D. Jakes coming your way. Most people focus about me. I'm tired of talking about me. Now you talk about me. If you don't believe that's true, go watch social media. Go watch media and look at your leaders, so-called leaders. And it's me, I did this, I did that. They're all about themselves. This man is selfless in his leadership. It's about the results, the impact, and the outcomes. He just wants you better. Protect him with everything you've got. Bishop, Chairman, T.D. Jakes, my friend, I love you very much. Thank you for spending this hour with us, inspiring a nation and arguably the world on how they can be a lighthouse in the midst of darkness.
It's a real pleasure. Thank you for having me. I hope we take this brotherhood thing seriously. I don't mean me and you. I know we take it seriously, but I hope from the Jewish community to the African American community to the Native American across the board that we really discover the fact that there's really one race, many ethnicities, one race, the human race, and we protect that as well. It's been a pleasure. Thanks again.
Deep honor. Let's go change the world. This has been Money and Wealth on the Black Effect Network at iHeartRadio with John Hope Bryant, Season 2. This is my own personal pulpit of empowerment and Ministry of Finance. Let's go change the world. Tell all your friends to follow Bishop T.D. Jakes, Chairman T.D. Jakes, his associated organizations and entities, and of course, follow me. Let's go.